What's going on, guys? It's Lomax here, and today I'm going to be bringing you another leveling skill point guide, this time for Maya. So let's get into it. I'm going to show you how to level her up to 72. First, we're going to start with her action skill, which is Phase Lock. It's a really good action skill, really useful. Basically just disrupting enemies, their combat and whatnot. We're going to go into Sweet Release pretty early. This allows us to get some sort of healing, which is nice when, health vials aren't always available. Then we're going to follow that up with a damage skill in Wreck, which is a multiplicative damage skill. It increases fire rate and damage whenever something is phase locked. The trick with this skill is to phase lock something and then to attack everything that's not phase locked. That way you can maximize your damage output. After we get Wreck, we're going to throw a point into Res, which is, it's really only useful if you're playing co-op, but, if you normally play solo and then the one time you're playing Maya in co-op, you don't have Res, you're going to get bitched at, so it's worth a point for sure. Alright, we're pretty much done with this tree for now. We'll come back to it a little bit later, but we're going to go down the Cataclysm tree. We want to make our way all the way down to Ruin, so we're going to start out first by going 5 points into Foresight, which will give us bonus mag size so we can continue shooting for longer, and reload speed so we can start shooting again more quickly. Followed by Immolate, which gives us bonus fire damage when we are in Fight for Your Life, which is another really useful skill. It can save your butt when you're in Fight for Your Life. You do a lot more damage than you think you would. After that, we're going to follow it up with Chain Reaction. And anytime we phase lock an enemy with Chain Reaction, our bullets have a chance to deflect off the enemy, or ricochet off the enemy, and hit another nearby enemy, which is really useful, especially with something like the Pimpernel. Alright, and we're not going to bother with any of these skills. They just don't scale well into UVHM, so I tend to ignore them. A lot of people tend to ignore them. And we're going to just pass by them. We're going to go down and put our next 5 points into Reaper, which is going to give us a tremendous boost in gun damage to anything over 50% of its health remaining. And it's a multiplicative bonus too, which means way more damage. So, like I said, we're going to get down to Ruin, so we're going to ignore these skills. We're going to put 4 points into Flicker. The reason we're going to do 4 and not 5 is because we're going to throw 1 into Blight Phoenix, but this gives us a increased chance to put some sort of status effect like burn damage or a dot on something. And we're going to throw 1 point here, because whenever we kill something with 1 point in Blight Phoenix, we have a chance to stun melee attackers, which can be useful. If you have a bee or something and there's someone running at you, and you kill something else, you can stun them and it gives you a second to, get your bearings, reposition, whatever you need. It has its use. But I wouldn't throw more than 1 point in this. That's the only use. 2 points will basically do the same thing as 1 point, so keep it to 1. And then we're going to grab Ruin. So anytime we phase lock something, we have free slag, which is pretty nice. We can also put dots on other things too. But I'd say mainly this is used for the slagging. So once we're done with this tree, and we're not going to come back to that tree, we're done with it completely. We're going to throw our next 5 points into Accelerate, which will give us increased gun damage and bullet speed with all gun types. Then we're going to throw our next 5 into Suspension, which will give us a longer phase lock duration. We're going to follow up that with Converge, which will bring anytime we phase lock something, it's going to bring all the enemies closer together, grouping them up, make it easier to kill things and not to spread out. It's also good for, something like Chain Reaction, which the bullets that reflect off of, whoever you're shooting will hit nearby enemies and they're closer, so it's good. Alright, we're going to follow Converge up with 4 points in Ward. We'll eventually get 5 in there, but I throw 4 points in at first, so I can get down to this, which, Quicken, which increases the cooldown rate, so you get it back faster. And then after that, we'll throw our last point into Ward. Now, the last 9 points really depend on if you're playing co-op or not. I say we're going to put 5 points into Inertia, which can be really useful when you kill something, because your shield will start regenerating, so if you have a dot on you, the shield regen will fight that. Also gives you bonus reload speed on kill, which is really nice. But the next 4 points, it depends on if you're playing co-op or not. If you are, I would say throw them into Restoration, which I'm just going to do here. But if you're not, throw them into Fleet, because it allows you to run faster if you have, let's say, a Breakneck Banshee Comm or something like that with 6 points in Fleet, which will give you 10 points. You can even take a point out of here and just toss it in to give you, 5 total points, 11 with a Breakneck Banshee Comm. And another thing to note is, if you do get a Grog Nozzle, I would take out the points here, and throw them here, because you don't really need Sweet Release if you have a Grog Nozzle. And this doesn't give you a ton of melee damage, or sorry, not melee damage, critical hit damage, but it's something. And it's probably more useful than Sweet Release, but that's the only thing I would change once you get a Grog Nozzle. But other than that, this is the final build. And, well, like the Zero Guide, I hope this helps some of you just kind of figure out how to level up a Maya. And that's gonna do it. So, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.